Welcome back to the Manolo Podcast. Today we're going to talk about the science of coffee versus tea. What you need to know before your next cup. Alright, so coffee versus tea. Why does this matter? Most of us are running on caffeine. Some can't start their day without coffee. Others swear by tea, green tea, black tea, matcha, you name it. And then there's a third group, the biohackers, dropping L-theanine capsules into their stack because they've heard it makes caffeine smoother. But the real question, do we actually know what's going on inside our brains when we drink this stuff? This isn't about taste or culture. It's about biochemistry. What's caffeine really doing? Why does tea feel so different from coffee? And is L-theanine just hype or legit neuroscience? By the end of this episode, you'll know exactly what caffeine does, why tea feels smoother, what L-theanine is doing to your brain, and whether stacking them actually makes sense. Alright, let's start with the baseline. There's caffeine in both of these. Caffeine is the molecule coffee and tea share. Without it, coffee is just bitter bean water, and tea is just hot leaf juice. Real appetizing. Here's why it works. Your brain builds up adenosine as you stay awake. Think of it as sleep pressure. The more it builds, the more tired you feel. Caffeine comes in and blocks those adenosine receptors. Your brain is still tired in the background, but the "you're exhausted" signal never gets delivered. That's why you feel awake, but also why you crash. Because once the caffeine wears off, all that adenosine rushes in and reminds you just how tired you really are. A cup of coffee delivers around 95 to 200 milligrams of caffeine. Black tea has about 40 to 60, and green tea only 20 to 30. So coffee hits hard and fast. Tea trickles in lighter and slower. Genetics make a difference too. If you're a fast metabolizer of caffeine, you can down an espresso at 10 p.m. and still sleep. If you're a slow metabolizer, even green tea at 3 p.m. might wreck your night. But caffeine isn't just about blocking adenosine. It also triggers your stress system. While adenosine is blocked, your brain interprets it as a stress signal. The hypothalamus calls the pituitary. The pituitary calls the adrenals. And cortisol, your main stress hormone, surges. Heart rate, blood sugar, alertness, all spike. That's why caffeine makes you feel sharp, but also why it makes some people anxious or jittery. That brings us to tea, the unique chemistry of tea. Coffee isn't just caffeine. It has chlorogenic acids, trigonelline, and antioxidants that bring flavor and some health perks. But its main punch still comes from caffeine. Tea, on the other hand, brings in something coffee doesn't: L-theanine. This amino acid crosses the blood-brain barrier and shifts your brain activity. It promotes alpha brain waves, that calm but alert rhythm you'd associate with meditation or deep focus. It also tweaks neurotransmitters, boosting GABA for calm and serotonin and dopamine for mood and motivation. The result? Caffeine gives you a lift, but L-theanine reins it in, keeping you focused without tipping into anxiety. And tea isn't done there. It also packs catechins like EGCG, powerful antioxidants that support heart health and may protect against disease. So where coffee is high-octane fuel, tea is chemically designed for balance. Caffeine plus compounds that smooth, protect, and steady the effect. Let's talk about coffee versus tea on the brain. What's going on there? Take a sip of coffee, and caffeine floods your system quickly. Adenosine is blocked, dopamine nudges up, and you feel sharp, like your brain just upgraded from dial-up to fiber optic, but there's no buffer. And if you're sensitive, you feel it as jitters, racing heart, or raw nervous energy. Tea works differently. The caffeine is slower to absorb, and the L-theanine sets your brain into alpha mode. Let the alpha waves disperse. Instead of a launch, it's more like a steady cruise control. Focused but calm. No spike, no crash. So, coffee is a gas pedal. Tea is a dimmer switch. Both get you moving, but the ride feels completely different. All right, so let's talk about the science of stacking. That's taking two different supplements. So, caffeine plus L-theanine. Scientists wanted to test what happens if you isolate caffeine and L-theanine and then combine them together. The result? The combo works better than either alone. People perform better on attention tests, switched tasks more smoothly, and reported fewer jitters. EEG scans showed more alpha waves, calm focus, while still staying alert. The sweet spot is roughly 200 milligrams of L-theanine with 100 milligrams of caffeine, the equivalent of a strong coffee paired with several cups of green tea. That's why supplements sell it as a focus stack. It's not hype. It's one of the few nootropic combos that consistently show up in research. Next, we're going to talk about the long-term health effects. So let's break it down. Sleep. Coffee is more likely to wreck deep sleep, even if you don't notice it. Tea, lighter on caffeine and buffered by L-theanine, is gentler. Heart health. Coffee can spike blood pressure, especially in slow metabolizers. Tea's polyphenols, meanwhile, can improve circulation and lower cholesterol. Anxiety. Coffee raises cortisol, which can fuel anxiety. Tea lowers stress with L-theanine. Pregnancy and fertility. High coffee intake is risky. Tea is generally safer. Nutrients in bones. Both can reduce absorption of iron if you drink them with meals. Heavy coffee can reduce calcium absorption slightly as well. Longevity. Both drinks are linked to longer life, lower disease risk, and brain protection. Coffee shines for Parkinson's and diabetes prevention, tea for heart and cancer risk reduction. The difference? Coffee carries bigger risks if your genetics don't handle caffeine well. Tea is a steadier, long-term choice. All right, we can't talk about caffeine without talking about addiction and dependency. Coffee delivers caffeine in a hard spike, and your brain adapts to it. It adapts by making more adenosine receptors, so over time, that morning cuff shifts from boost to baseline. Skip it and you crash. Headaches, irritability, and fatigue. Tea's caffeine is absorbed slower, buffered by tannins and L-theanine. Dependence happens, but the withdrawal is usually milder. Bottom line, caffeine hooks you faster. Tea lets you sip without the same crash. Do you feel like you're addicted to caffeine? Could you go without your cup of coffee or your cup of tea? And how does it affect you? Answer in the comments and I'd be curious to know. So let's have some practical takeaways. Coffee is best for a quick, strong boost. Think mornings, deadlines, workouts. Great if you metabolize caffeine fast, but risky if you're prone to anxiety or poor sleep. Tea is a choice for steady focus. Students, coders, long work sessions. Perfect if you want calm alertness without the crash. Stacking caffeine plus L-theanine? The research is backed for sharp and balanced focus. Think exams, creative deep work, or high-performance tasks. Timing matters. Usually when you want that boost, you want something like coffee in the morning and tea in the afternoon to kind of relax you a little bit. Avoid caffeine after 2 p.m. if you want real sleep, that is. All right, so wrapping it up. Coffee, tea, L-theanine. They're all tools. Coffee hits hard and fast. Tea is smooth and steady. And stacking caffeine and L-theanine together lands them in a sweet spot. Luckily, nature already put this together for us in something called tea. Now, I know I love coffee in the morning, and it gives me that nice boost. But it's good to realize that tea is actually something that can be used as well. It's tasty and really good in a matcha latte if you ever had one of those. The real takeaway isn't coffee bad, tea good. It's know what's in your cup, know how your body handles it, and use it intentionally. Do you have that slow metabolizer gene for caffeine? You might have some data, but it's good to get genetically tested first. Try it for yourself. A week on coffee, a week on tea. Leave a comment. Let me know what's your favorite, coffee or tea, and why. Try it for a week on each. Notice your focus, mood, and sleep. The experiment is in your hands. Because at the end of the day, this isn't just about what wakes you up. It's about understanding the chemistry that literally shapes how your brain works every single day. Thank you, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.